Hey everybody, welcome back to the 5 o'clock curling conversation with the community. And we are here with a great guest, I have to tell you, um, Miss Emily Hinchman. I want to introduce her. She is not Dr. Glenn Hinchman's wife. She is not Enid and Michael Seiden's daughter. She is her own person. She's a nurse practitioner, a former ICU nurse. She's actually co-owner of the Scottsdale Adult Medicine, and she's a vice chair in the Scottsdale Human Relations Commission. I kid her because I do know her mom, Enid, from the time when her mom was a Title I teacher at Holcomb Elementary School, but really, it's the one and only Emily Hinchman. Welcome, Emily.
Hi.
Okay, so let's get right into it. How are you and your family doing?
Um, we're just like everybody else. It's day by day. There's some good days and there's some bad days. Homeschooling and trying to run an office. It increases shortens up the cocktail time during the day to start a little before 5. So um, we're doing what we can. I mean, we're all in this, we're all together. So we're coping.
Well, so you have 3 kids, but the one boy at home right now is your son. He's a Laguna student
Yes.
and a soccer protege. Is that correct?
Yeah, that all came to an abrupt halt. So we're now 6 weeks learning online, and we've been out of soccer now about almost a month, 3 weeks, I think. Um,
Wow.
so when we were, that was all we were doing with school. So it's an adjustment, but we're doing what we can. You got to stay at home. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
You're gonna try to drink a little bit less, right? I mean, you probably reached your point where you're at full. No.
Maybe when this is all over, I'll start that, but not right now.
Yeah, you guys are a lot of fun. I was over your house for an occasion, and you have a beautiful home, I might add. It's
Thank you.
looking on the Salt River Reservation, and I was just asking before the show if you're seeing more animals out there on the res because of the clearer atmosphere.
Well, the clearer atmosphere, I don't know if you remember, but you can see Camelback from our house. That is crystal clear at night. And even the lights in Tempe and Mesa, the horizon is crystal clear. So that's awesome. The animals, on the other hand, there's so many people walking outside now. Um, I don't know why they weren't walking before, because it's good to get out and exercise, but it seems like there's so much foot traffic out there. We haven't seen many animals lately.
Well,
So,
hey, look at it this way, Emily. The Earth
but
is
I don't
getting.
have chipmunks.
Oh, you're gonna go there. All right, real quickly, I've got a bone to pick with a particular animal in my own yard. I have, for the first time, 6 months ago, I noticed there's a chipmunk in my backyard. Now, I'm from New York on Long Island, and we used to have squirrels, we used to have chipmunks, and here in the desert, I lived by the Lost Dog Wash, and I would see maybe a bobcat once in a while, a snake, javelina, but all of a sudden, I start seeing a chipmunk. This is 6 months ago, and I'm like, oh, how cute! It's a little chipmunk. It's like Chip and Dale, and you see the little guy scurrying with his little tail up in the air. There he goes, and all of a sudden, this collides now with the fact that I am trying to grow tomatoes. So fast forward 6 months to today, I have never been able to grow anything out here in Arizona. Everything dies. But lo and behold, I have 2 tomato plants that I bought big pots from Home Depot, $40 a piece, and I filled them up with all kinds of soil. I mean, growing 2 tomato plants cost me about $2 too large. So here we are, and the freeze comes in the winter, and one of my tomato plants looks like it's perishing. It's going crazy, right? It's dying. Anyway, lo and behold, this thing comes back. I've got fruit out the wing wang. I got tomatoes everywhere. And now I notice there's about 30 chipmunks, and they're all eating my tomatoes. One, chipmunks don't belong here. Two, I usually don't grow tomatoes. Three, these things have collided now to ruin my life.
So
Okay,
don't be hurting those chipmunks.
enough
I'll turn
about
you
me.
in.
Let's talk about medicine, all right? That's what people, they're not here to talk about chipmunks. They're not here to try my
Maybe you
tomatoes.
can, oh, never mind. I was going to say injecting some disinfectant. We
No,
won't go there.
no, no, no. All right, look, so here's the dealio. You and I do know each other a bit. I do know your mom, Enid. She's a lovely lady. But you had posted something on Facebook where Mark Curtis or someone from Channel 12 News interviewed you and Dr. Glenn, your husband.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. Why were you on the program? What was it supposed to be about?
Well, first of all, we applied for the Paycheck Protection Plan program with the CARES Act. That's, lost money. So we did not receive anything yet, but we were told after 2 days of, I applied, 2 days of the website was down, whatever, then we got a thing, all the money's out. You don't get that. So that was something we applied for. But there was automatically money dropped into our business account, which we did not apply for, that came in about, I think 2 weeks ago, that was for medical providers. We didn't ask for it. We didn't apply for it, just dropped in my business account. And we started looking at the fine print, and it had said, if you acknowledge this money, you don't have to pay it back. If you acknowledge this,
wait a second. Let me just interrupt you right there. Did this come through an email from a guy from Nigeria who mentioned he was a
it was
prince?
legit. It was from the HHS.
I never get those emails.
It's from the Health and Human Services, and I think there's like $30 billion that was going towards healthcare providers to help pay for testing, which is another story, pay for your payroll, keep your practice going, take care of people. But in the very fine print, there is a agenda attached that had said, by accepting this money, you won't advocate for gun control. You won't advocate for embryo research. You won't, now they're saying you won't use the money for these things. And our point was, well, duh. We're not going to take the money during this disaster crisis that the government is giving us and go out and lobby for gun control. Duh. Our point was, and what I was going to use it for is to pay my employees full time, since our hours have been drastically shortened. I wanted to pay them their full-time pay. And so that's all I was going to use it for. And then for medical supplies. But the fact that they had to attach a certain agenda to this bundle of cash was a little concerning. So it wasn't something we applied for. It just dropped into our account, yet the stuff we are applying for, we can't get.
It's kind of, you know what? It's very similar to the chipmunk story.
I think you're going to bring everything back to the chipmunk.
But it's true. It comes full circle. Chipmunk's not supposed to be there. My tomato is bearing fruit. The two collide. There's too much fine print. I got to grow a goddamn.
Yeah, well,
I got to grow a tomato.
Like I said, you better not hurt the damn chipmunks.
All right, let's not curse. I almost did myself. So really getting back to this. This thing just dropped in your lap.
Just because we're medical providers.
I know, but the fine print was about not using this to kind of.
Well, you're not supposed to read the fine print. You're not supposed to do that.
Well, was there any kind of? Was there anything attached that said how you had to behave in order to keep the money without paying it back? You had to do 75%.
Well, at the time of the news story, there was no way that we could argue or say, what if we don't agree? Now there's a portal that physicians can go into and say whether they will or not. So that just became live.
Wow.
So yeah, it was just kind of interesting how they kind of attached certain, and I know it happens in government all the time. Things get tacked on to the end of a bill and just gets pushed through. I get it. But bringing politics into a medical practice during a crisis, let us run our practice.
Yeah. What's the point of it, right? What's the goal? Achieve the goal, move on to something else. I agree. Emily, here's a spoiler alert. I am running for the House of Representatives. I promise not to tack on any pork to any bill, okay? I just think every bill should stand alone for what its purpose is. And if there's others that kind of go with it to make the thing better, yeah, put it in there. Okay. I do also want to say that Emily and her husband, Dr. Glenn, do not endorse my campaign by being on this show. This is just about getting information out to the public. So if you have any questions for our nurse practitioner here, Enid Seiden's daughter, please go ahead and type those into the bar.
Love that, you know.
Emily Hinchman will be happy to answer them, and we'll do our best. All right. So look, give me a little update. ICU nurse, give me an update of where we are in Scottsdale, COVID-19.
So as of 2 days ago, and I do think our state is a little better off than a lot of other states. When I talk about our hospital system, I'm talking about Honor Health, because that's where my husband's going right now, and we get a lot of communication, and I have a lot of former nurses I'm friends with, used to work with, I still keep in touch with. So as of right now, Honor Health is using 86 out of 168 ICU beds. So the ICU, we've got room, which is a good thing.
Just that.
The hospital's pretty empty right now. I don't want to say any other words than that because it can jinx things, but it is slow. So that's another good thing that we're seeing. We're not overwhelmed. A couple of weeks ago, I'd say about 3 weeks ago, or even a month, my husband and I were asked if we would be available should things take a turn for the worse, and would we report? And of course we would, even though I don't go there anymore. They were looking for anybody in the community that could help if needed. So I'm hoping we're not at that point. I don't see us getting to that point. So that's a plus. They're using right now through Honor Health 40 ventilators out of a stash of over 150. Wow. So we've got ventilators. So that's good. That's the good news. I think as of 2 days ago, they had the highest number of deaths reported, which I say it as a good thing in the sense that that usually happens after the peak of infection. So we think we're starting to turn a corner. Now, I know there's lots of talk about the second wave and all this stuff coming. We're just trying to stay positive, and we're looking at the numbers right now. Our hospital system in Scottsdale, our community, by staying home and doing what we're supposed to do, is looking good. The outlook is looking good. It's still a crisis. We still need to stay home, and we still need to wear masks and do our part as a community, but it's okay, is our opinion, my opinion.
Well, and thank you for that, because that's why you're here, to give your opinion, and and we appreciate that. And having all those numbers is fantastic. Let me ask you this question with that kind of an outlook. You know, people talk about this pandemic in two different ways. It seems like, much like our politics, we're divided along two lines. Open the economy now, close it down forever, and be safe. You know, there's not this either or, but people have kind of taken these positions, and each one has their merits for why they need to be doing it. So I want to ask you, as a nurse, as a professional, as a parent, because I heard today, I watched the president's press conference, and he's talking about schools wanting to open, and he wants them to open for a little short time at the end of this semester. And I'm thinking, you as a parent, would you send your child back to school this year?
So we talk about that a lot. Everybody wants to go back. Everybody wants to reopen. It's a given. We don't want this to be the way of life anymore. Our kids miss each other. We can tell every time my kid gets online with his class 2 times a morning and they all say goodbye to each other, it just kills you. They want to see each other. He sees his friends over the fence, waves, and then we go back. It's just heartbreaking. But we have to do it slow. To put people at risk to get, my roots done, it doesn't make any sense. We have an elderly population, we've got kids, we have to do it right and we have to do it slow. And without proper testing and a treatment plan, we can't just go back. We are hoping that our heat here, I'm not saying it's going to disappear like a miracle. I'm just saying that the heat, you don't see as many flu cases in
Yes.
summer in Arizona. It can help us. But, school's done for us, and that's fine. I'm hoping we can go back in the fall. Now, my kid plays soccer usually through summer here or through camps and things like that. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I'm not going to put him at risk just to get back on the field. I mean, without proper testing and a treatment plan, you can't be stupid. It just has to come slow, and we'll get there. You just, your roots are going to have to wait.
Yeah, and besides which, I'm first online to get a haircut. Hey, so we're talking with Emily Hinchman. She's a former ICU nurse. She's a nurse practitioner. She's also the vice chair of the Scottsdale Human Relations Commission. We're going to kind of get into that in a little bit. But if you have questions, type them into the bar. And through the magic of Andy Gomez, we'll get into the Zoom here. I do want to read a couple of comments. It sounds like Enid and Michael Seiden are here. I want to wave to your mommy and daddy. Hi, mommy, daddy. Okay. Go ahead, have a drink of vodka. And I know it's like it's a traitor. Chris Jensen says that Emily is hot. I think that's in reference to the glasses matching the shirt. Of course, I know who Chris Jensen is, but that sounds like could be either a guy or a gal. So it looks like you're. I know you're hitting every park right now. And Faith Rizzolo, she wants you to know if you believe that the Arizona mitigation strategy spared us a larger spread of this virus. What we did with the social distancing and closing things down, has that helped us mitigate the virus?
Absolutely, yes. As hard as it was for people, staying home and wearing a mask and washing your hands, definitely has got us to a better point. You can't look at us and compare us to New York and say it was New York's fault. New York is there because they're a hub of European, Asian, all sorts of travel stuff. That's why they're in that situation. Same with LAX. It's different. So I don't want to compare, but absolutely staying at home, and as hard as it is for everybody, and as hard as it is to homeschool your kid and work, it absolutely had to be done.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a little plug here. Next week is Teacher Appreciation Week.
We so appreciate the teachers.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
We did so anyway, but it sheds you. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to have the president of the Arizona Education Association, the president of Scottsdale Education Association. We're going to have a gal from Save Our Schools and the voucher fight. We're also going to have Patty Beckman from the governing board. And on Friday, we're going to have the superintendent of public instruction, Kathy Hoffman. So each of those days next week is a great guest, and we'll be doing something special for teachers as well. So I'm going to talk to you offline about that.
And Eric, I would like to say that what SUSD has done with the online teaching for our kids has been incredible. It was, they rolled it out quick. They fixed glitches within a week. They heard all the complaints of, I'm sure, a ton of people, and it's working. It sucks that we have to teach our kids this way, but they really did a great job in how they rolled this out, how they got everyone online, how they're checking in on people. I mean, I can't say anything negative about the way SUSD has conducted themselves.
Well, thank you for saying that, Emily. I know that there are people out there, just as you know, there are people out there that aren't pleased with the product that's being produced right now. And there might be some issues, but we have to remember that this whole system that we've been complaining about, or people have been complaining about, that's too archaic, was turned on its head,
Yep.
shaken up like a snow globe, and then had to settle. And SUSD, to its credit, despite some poor leadership that I believe is out there, we did as a whole very well. So congratulations to the teachers, congratulations to the school site administrators, congratulations to the cafeteria, the bus drivers, everybody who pulled this together that feeds the mind, the soul, and the stomachs of all these kids. God bless you. Hey, let's get on to your second role here. Well, first, one more thing on the health side. Where are we on the testing? You mentioned the testing. In order for us to kind of open up,
So
what's your vision?
my vision, what we want, the focal point of this whole thing is we want to test like the flu swab, like the strep test, where you come in, we swab you, we say you're positive, we give you medicine, and you go. We don't have that. What you are hearing right now that's available, that everybody has to go out and get done, is immunity testing. And here's what we just sent an email out to all of our patients because the phone calls are starting to come in. Here's the deal with immunity testing. It will tell us if you have had it in January, February, whatever. You've had it, it's gone. However, it does not guarantee at all that you are immune. So does that change the treatment? Does that mean you could go and walk around without a mask and cough on people and say, well, I don't have it, I'll never have it? It does not in any way guarantee that you can't give it to somebody or you can't ever get it again. So why are you going to do it? Because people are curious if they've had it. It does not change treatment. We'll still tell you to stay home. We'll still tell you to wash your hands. We'll still tell you to wear a mask. It's not enough. And that's what's being offered right now. And it's not, none of it's FDA approved because it's getting pushed through, I think it's called the emergency,
Right.
the EUA, the Emergency Use Act, where they can just put it out there and your insurance isn't going to cover any of it because it's not FDA approved. But for $65, you can go get it done at Sonora Quest if that's what you want to do.
Oh, wow.
Not
So
enough.
for $65, I can get the answer to a question that I don't even need to be asking because the answer is not really useful.
It's not what we're looking for. We need a test where we swab you, you're positive, just like flu and strep. I can give you treatment, we're done. And we're not there yet at all.
So be careful out there for those Nigerian princes who will come in the email saying they have a test for $65. Okay, and just to be clear, you want something to be out there that they can test you as if you are currently carrying the disease.
We need the viral active infection now. And we need it done within 10 to 15 minutes at my office where we can do it and tell you. But then you have to have treatment.
Which we don't have.
We don't have that either. So.
Right. Oh, wait. We do. I think I saw at the Target. Didn't we see that the Ajax was still on the shelves? Or Lysol or something? Do not be stupid. Do not take that stuff. All right. That's our one disclaimer. That and you guys are definitely not endorsing my campaign right now with the Ajax. Okay, somebody's, I don't know if this was typed in correctly. Someone's asking about Denmark and the herd immunity. Is there any?
So all these immunity tests are coming from all over the place and being offered, like I said, under this EUA, the Emergency Use Act, that the FDA does not give their approval. They're just pushing it through because we're in a crisis situation and people are asking for testing. Immunity testing is immunity testing. That's not what we need right now. We need viral testing, active infection testing.
Okay. On a serious note there, doctor, let's talk about City of Scottsdale. Yeah. Same thing. Hero to me. Let's talk about the City of Scottsdale and the Human Relations Commission. One of the things I'm really worried about, truly worried about, when we have everybody at home with these additional stressors, with jobs being lost, it just magnifies the bad thinking of some people. I mean, it does play to the better angels of a lot of people, But then you have the ones that kind of go the other way, and we have an increase in child abuse, an increase in domestic violence, an increase in just all kinds of bad stuff. What are you seeing as the human part of this
Well,
equation?
the Human Relations Commission is trying to monitor hate crimes during the coronavirus. And it may not seem obvious, but when people in higher positions start using certain words against a minority population, when people are stressed, or even when they're not, they just follow, they're going to turn on that population. So I will say that the FBI has contacted our chair, and we are keeping track of hate crimes against Asian American Pacific Islander people, which has risen.
Wow.
Because of what the virus was being incorrectly labeled. It doesn't matter where it came from. It's not seeing any color now. It's killing, tons of people, no matter what color they are. So it doesn't matter where it came from. It's here. It's not anybody's. Well, we won't get into fault, but it is non-discriminatory. So we did see an increase in the number of hate crimes against that group. And we're trying to watch that. We're trying to educate the public. April 11th was supposed to be Golden Rule Day, which I had been working on for a year. We were going to have an outdoor celebration on kindness, respect, civility, empathy. And we had to cancel, of course. So now the city is trying to push the Golden Rule through the community and remind people that we need to be kind and we need to be respectful of all Scottsdale for all. This virus doesn't discriminate. It just takes whoever is out there. So I don't want people contributing and listening to some misinformed people that a certain minority is responsible.
Wow, you know what? It's a stark reminder that we sometimes have a human impulse to blame others when things are going bad, and we look for a scapegoat. And I would ask my citizens that I know as my friends and neighbors to really be mindful of whatever you're doing. Is it helping or is it hurting? There'll be plenty of time for postmortem. There'll be plenty of time to say, well, this should have been done differently. But right now, stay home if that's the way we're going about this. Wash your hands. Bob Blackwell has got an interesting question, not about the hate crimes. Oh, you know what? You should check out what Rabbi Shmuley, when he was on the show, we were talking about anti-Semitism rising too. It's another case of, bad actors using scapegoats. Anyway, Bob Blackwell has a question. He's talking about, there are rumors that we're shortchanging our immunity by staying home and washing our hands a lot. And it sounds like to him that's the latest round of misinformation. Can you weigh in on that?
I don't think we're shortchanging our immunity. The rate that coronavirus passes from one person to another through droplets, through stuff on your hands, the rate is incredible. It's so fast and so easy that I don't think anybody can make that argument. I think when we're going on our 6th week now, and we were stay at home at our most gorgeous time in Arizona, where everybody is out until, right before we can't be because it's going to be over 100, which it started today. But I think people are trying to grasp and think that they, there's another answer. Right now, there's not. There's just not. As much as anybody wants to be out there, stay at home. It's working. I don't have anything better to say than that.
Yeah, on that note, I'm going to ask you, we're kind of at the end of our time, so I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions. Before that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow, we're going to have Deidre Bood, who's running for Maricopa County Supervisor. I'll get it by the time we get through this. Wednesday, we're going to have Kelly Butler, who is District 28 representative. She's going to talk about the health committee over at the Capitol. On Thursday, we have her seatmate. He is going to be talking, Aaron Lieberman is going to be talking a little bit more about the education component of this. Deidre Boot, Board of Supervisors, that's it. I knew I'd remember it. Anyway, so I have you here, Emily. We're going to end with a couple of questions. Tell me one thing that you did wrong as a kid that your mom does not know, still does not know.
She knows a lot.
Spill it. We're going to play Emily Spills.
She knows a lot.
Okay, tell me the worst thing you did that she would cringe at right now because she's watching.
I had a friend buy me a 12-pack of beer when I was a senior and hide it under their stairs, and her dad saw me get it from out under the stairs and drive away in my car that said M's car on the back of it.
Ooh, not bad. Hey, worst thing your mom has ever cooked, caused you to take one bite and spit it out pretty much.
Don't
Go ahead. Go ahead. Emily Spills. Emily Spills.
Well, you'll like this in a, Jewish sense.
Gefilte fish?
She once screwed up a kugel so bad that you had to use a straw.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what? Kugel is actually too dry so many times. Ugh,
No, hers is awesome. Hers is the best. But
okay.
I don't know what happened this one time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we won't do any more than that. Try. I do love you, Enid. Emily, thanks so much for coming on. The business is Scottsdale Adult Medicine. Her and her husband own the place. They do good work in the community. She's also the vice chair of the Scottsdale Human Relations Commission. You'll be seeing more of her in the community once we start to open up again. Be safe, love each other from a distance, and we'll see everybody back tomorrow at 5. Now we dance off the program, Emily, so let's see your dancing. Dance, Emily. Woohoo!